my Uncle Jimmy died when I was like 7 or something like that. And my grandmother had moved into his house. So the room that was my Uncle Jimmy's room was now my Uncle Billy's room. And like he still had like Uncle Jimmy's gun in his room. And I remember like staring at the gun, and then I was like sleeping over my grandma's house. I was in my Uncle Billy's bed. He wasn't. That sounds real weird. He wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Story's getting scary, I'll tell you. Uncle Sticky.
So I was like laying there, and then I was staring at my Uncle Jimmy's gun. It was right there, and then in like my peripheral over here on the right, I saw what I looked like a form of some sort. And as I like looked, I could still see the form, and I went, Bill, because I thought it was my cousin Bill. And then I like focused my eyes, and there was nobody there. So that
That counts. Maybe. Relax, Cory. These are fine. These are fine stories.
It's not a contest.
So that's it.
I mean, if it were, you'd be losing. But kidding.
So, okay. So you thought
that
it was
counts.
Yeah, no, it does count. Yeah, I'm just thinking.
I see how quickly I fucking got on his side. I was like, hey, be nice to Cory.
I'm just thinking about it, that it's like, when you did focus, it went away. Like you didn't see it dissipate, so right. It could have just been your eyes focusing in a weird way. I also
have very bad eyesight. So what you'll learn from me is that I was retard with really I was skinny fat with a dumb haircut, and everybody bullied me. So my eyesight was really bad. I was supposed to wear glasses, but I always broke them because I was hyperactive. I was very hyperactive.
Led you to see ghosts.
Yeah. Right, which led me to see ghosts. Okay. You know what? I couldn't read a clock. I couldn't read a watch until I'm like, this is more embarrassing.
Hold on, finish that. Hang on a second now.
Until June of 2020 is when I
learned. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, everybody has their shortcomings.
So you feel though that was the spirit of your uncle?
He's been like, so many people have said that he's there. Mm-hmm. Like that's his house. And like my grandmother had had a story where she thought my brother was standing in the doorway and it wasn't him. And she was like, Justin, get over here. And then no one was standing there. Mm-hmm. But also my grandma had cataracts. She also was a blind
eyesight
retard.
In your family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dalton, it's your turn. Take us home.
Okay. I've had sleep paralysis several times throughout my life. It's a regular occurrence for me. And I don't know if anyone here is familiar with sleep paralysis, but
Matty gets it. It comes up on the show all the time.
Okay. So you're like half awake, half asleep, and I've had it many, many times, and it feels like I'm in bed and I'm looking around at my room, but I'm not even sure I'm actually awake. But there's definitely a demon in the room with me.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. But do you see it or you feel it?
Both. So a lot of the time, as I'm like kind of figuring out what's going on, like I'm conscious, I guess I'm halfway between awake and asleep. It feels like my mom is in the room with me a lot of the time. Like I'll look in the corner of the room and I'm like, oh, my mom is here to wake me up for school or whatever. And then I realize, no, wait, I'm 27. I live in New York. My mom's not here. And then once I realize it's not like, why my mom shouldn't be here, whatever this figure is changes from my mom into this like malevolent shadow.
That's real fucking scary.
And yeah, it sucks. And you know what's funny is one time I told my mom about this and her reaction was, oh, is that how you think of me? I'm like,
What a
wait,
psycho.
no, that's
Thinking about you,
I
Bob.
know. Yeah, it's like no, that's just it's
Who's your mother,
maybe
Olivia
it is.
Soprano?
Maybe that's why it's dude, no joke, I've told her that. I've told her you should watch The Sopranos because I think you're Olivia Soprano.
Just leave me here to die.
Yeah. My mom has told me before that this is her rationale for me being like she wants me to be a safe, good kid because she's like, if you die, I don't have any other children to fall back on.
I was just going to ask, like, an only child.
Do you know what that sounds like? But yeah, so I've had sleep paralysis where it's that, and I'm just staring at this shadow in the room and
so
trying to.
It doesn't have like a form. It's just like a dark shadow. Like you can't tell features.
It's vaguely. So at first it's my mom, and then it turns into this shadow that's vaguely humanoid.
Okay.
And it just kind of stands there and scares the shit out of me. And then other times I've had it, and whatever this thing is just sitting on top of me, and it feels like there's weights on my chest, like I'm being suffocated. And
then it asks you if you're finished yet.
Yeah, it pulls off the condom, and it's like there's no cum in here. And every time as it's happening, I'm convinced that there's a demon in the room. Like whatever rational part of me that would say no, spirits aren't real or whatever is gone, and I'm like, oh, hell has come to earth. There's a demon in the room with me and is trying to kill me.
How long have you been experiencing sleep paralysis, would you say?
I've had it off and on since I was probably a kid, because I remember, I think the first time I ever had it, I was like a boy, like 8 or 9 at my grandma's house, sleeping on her fold-out couch. I vividly remember feeling it then, and then I started getting it more in high school, and then when I got to college, I think it's a stress thing, just like unfamiliar environments, because usually it's when I transition to some other environment that I really deal with it. Because when I went to college, I was getting it a lot, and then when I moved to New York, I was getting it a lot.
The demon says, "What are you so sad about?"
Yeah, the demon is like, go off the medication and then try later.
Like growing up in a religious family, like when you were a kid, did you ever tell your parents, and like, do they have an explanation for you?
Oh, I didn't know how to even articulate it to them. Like I had no way to tell them. Like, I think at the time it just felt like a bad dream. And then as I got older, like when I would get it, because it's weird, because like when you have sleep paralysis and the demon is with you, in my experience, I've tried screaming, like everything in me, I'm trying to just scream and I can't do anything. I'm just paralyzed. And eventually I finally am able to mutter out like a little and then I come out of it.
Yeah, that's what I do too. That's weird.
Do what?
I do the same thing. I'll like whimper like that. And then my
yeah.
fiance wakes me up like you're fucking whimpering or whatever. It's really humiliating, actually.
It's crazy how common it is.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 1 of 4 guests on the show, that's what they start out by saying, that they've had sleep paralysis experiences.
That sounds fair.
It's crazy.